Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 162 of the Seezus Show. We're back with another fun-filled episode featuring the NFL and the NBA. And I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. But just to rehash last week's episode 161, we gave our week 9 predictions. Talked about Scatterbu's injury, Myles Garrett historic game with the L, Wemby's, if it's Wemby's league or not, and much, much more. So make sure to continue to subscribe on all forms of social media at the Seezus Show, at Carl Conyers, at Sir Seezus as well too. And I just want to get straight to it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my boy, for the GOAT, for my co-host Carl Conyers.
What's good, everybody?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm tired as hell.
I
Uh,
feel you, man. I
I
feel
I like this part of daylight savings time because you get that extra hour like in the morning, but it's been messing me up at nighttime because now I'm getting tired earlier. So plus the day and the drive and all that, it'd be a lot. But we here, that's what
yeah,
matters.
yeah. We definitely here, so I'm happy about that. Like I told you before we started recording, I was at Houston just spending some time with my sister for her birthday, so that was pretty cool as well too. This is my third time being in Houston, so it's always love when I go there as well. Appreciate you sending me a lot of those different food spots, but my sister kind of had an itinerary, but I was able to go to Torchy Tacos.
Okay.
I remember I sent you that voice out. I was like, "Nigga, this your wash. It's on you."
Yeah, nah,
Um,
that shit was
I
great.
ended up, I didn't get tacos per se. I got this like I forgot the name of the bowl, but it was some type of chicken bowl. That shit
Okay.
was fire, bro.
Yeah.
Like that shit was really good. So I'm probably gonna try to go there like a few times a year now, especially like being relatively pretty close there. Like the ticket prices be cheap getting there. So I definitely got that list locked in. I'm definitely gonna try to knock out some more food spots. So all is well.
But like I said, I got plenty more if you need them.
I just saw the dot dot dot. I was like, keep it
But
coming, keep it
bro,
coming.
Houston is the best food that I've had in the country, to be real. Uh,
Including Detroit?
you said including New York?
No, Detroit.
Detroit, yo, I mean, Detroit has good food, but Houston is,
That's
yeah, it's
Southern shit.
it's a different level, man.
And we had a rental car. Gas is like $2 cheaper. And like you said, the
Yeah.
food is not only like A1, but it's good as far as like being price sensitive on the good side. Happy hours are kind of crazy too, which I like. And the energy is different. I love the black people there. Obviously, I mean, you spent a lot of your early adult life there as well too, but that Southern hospitality over there, real man. Like, the people just feel more genuine, so it's always
Very
love.
nice as hell.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love it. So I will be back soon. Be back soon. But you ready
Real
to?
quick,
Oh, go ahead.
when me and Asia was just there for my friend's wedding,
Oh, I know
uh,
you went to Houston for that.
yeah, we was literally just there maybe 2, 3 weeks before you were.
Mhm.
But we got an electric car. I don't even know if I gotta tell you the story, but we got an electric car. Long story short, it ended up running out of power like while we were literally about to turn into the place where the charging station was, and it ran out of power like in the turn lane. Whole thing, it was crazy. It was a lot. But just to your point, like we had the amount of people that stopped, like pulled over and like offered to help us push the car, help figure it out, whatever, was a lot compared to like if that shit happened here in LA, people I already know, people would have just been going around honking at us, whatever, whatever. So yeah, like it whenever you're there, you can feel it for sure. There's just like a lot. The Southern hospitality is real.
Yeah, no, it definitely is real. Although the drivers were a little crazy. I don't know if it was just a one-off, but
No, the
obviously
drivers are crazy.
Halloween weekend. But I swear to you, that Friday we saw like 5 or 6 nasty accidents, bro.
Yeah.
After another, after another, another. So hopefully they all good. But I was just like, damn.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they
prayers
suck.
up to them. Prayers up to them. But let's go ahead and get started with today's hottest topics with the NFL and the NBA. Going with the NFL first. What were your takeaways from week 9 of the NFL football season?
For me, for week nine, I really like. I feel like one of the biggest takeaways for me is like the Ravens still have a chance, which is crazy when you look at how their season started and how it's been going. But Lamar's back. He looked like Lamar. He looked great. Um, Also crazy that people were trying to say that he wasn't really injured and he missed like 4 weeks or something like that. But yeah, I mean their schedule isn't super crazy going forward, and they play a couple of teams that they need to leapfrog in order to make it to the playoffs, which is just like, if you win those games, then you're putting yourself in a position to be able to do that. So yeah, that to me is crazy. I feel like a lot of people kind of wrote them off, and if they're able to close out the season strong, they still have a chance. I'll also say like the Colts, they kind of Daniel Jones went a little bit pumpkin mode. They showed, that they're not the one of the best teams ever. But I still think they're a good team, and I think they clearly do as well. By we'll get to it a little bit later, but the Sauce Gardner trade will help shore some stuff up for them. But yeah, just I think Daniel Jones is on a little bit of watch, which sucks because it's like you have a bunch of good games, and all it takes is one game for people to start questioning you. But that's just how it is. Um, and what else? The Panthers, I think they're a really big surprise. I don't think anyone expected them to be decent this year, and that's what they've been. And to be real, like Bryce has been fine, but it's been Rico Dowdle, which is really crazy because like he had a decent year for the Cowboys last year, but I don't think anything that suggested he would be able to do what he's been doing. Which one is like outpacing and outplaying their incumbent starter, Chuba Hubbard, who, came on for them last year and they signed him to an extension. And so it was like that was kind of like their big hometown story of like, okay, we developed this back. And he basically came in and snatched the snatched Chuba's chain, basically. And it's like he's right now, I think he's like fifth or sixth in the league in rushing, and he's only started 3 games, which is just insane. So yeah, he's honestly been like Jonathan Taylor, but he's only started 3 games. But in each of those games he started, he's gone for at least 120 something yards. 2 of the games he had basically like 200 yards. Uh, so yeah, no, I think that they're somewhat of a threat. I think they could definitely at least sneak into the playoffs if they keep, this form up, which would be crazy because I don't remember Carolina being good since Cam, and I don't think they've been good since Cam. Um, and the last 2 things, the Chargers are kind of in danger zone for me. They won this last game, but the reason I say that is because they just lost Joe Alt for the season. So now, like, I think at least 3 or 4 of their planned starters in the offensive line are out for the year. Um, and those are the things that become hard to overcome when you get into the playoffs. You can make it through the regular season, but I'll say, like for me, one thing that always stands out is that Super Bowl, the Chiefs versus the Bucks, and Mahomes' offensive line was either injured or like the players they had weren't good, and he was just running for his life the whole time. So it's like when you get to the playoffs, you're going to be playing teams that have good pass rushes. They're going to be able to get to the quarterback. And if you're just playing a bunch of backups, I think that it's going to be tough for them. So it's something I don't think is necessarily going to be awful for the rest of the regular season per se, but it makes me pause when it comes to them in the postseason. And then the last thing is just the Cowboys. Cowboys suck. Uh, and we'll get to it a little bit more in the trade deadline because I don't understand why they made that trade really. But yeah, I just it's weird. It's also very weird because if they weren't the Cowboys, I don't think they would even be a story most of the time. But they're America's franchise, and they always make sure to make headlines and stuff like that. But they've just been like a super mid team this year, and they continue to be.
Mm. No, that's real. I mean, we had a couple of different like overlaps as well too. Um, First of all, Daniel Jones situation, obviously they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-20. And just like you said, like just when you want to give him his flowers, something kind of happens and it's like in the back of our mind, oh, okay, we're starting to see what he was doing in the Giants. So it gives me somewhat of a cause for concern as well too. So right now, I'm still flippity floppity with him. I feel like right now, just from that game itself, like especially when Jonathan Taylor, got shut down, essentially, I think he had under 50 rushing yards. It's just like, all right, when you have to sit back and throw and it's relatively still a close game, can you be that guy to take us over the hump? And I did not see that as well too with all those turnovers that he did have. So I'm a little concerned, and I don't know if he can be a starting quarterback for a championship team. Although they did, we'll talk about this a little bit later, did make some acquisitions to ensure that. We'll see. Um, but that's just how I feel about him right now as well too. Um, and yeah, I think you're right with that. I think the Ravens may be able to make a playoff run as well too. I checked and they only have played two of their divisional games right now, and they're second in their division right now. Obviously, with the Browns, we're thinking they're pretty much going to lose out essentially, and then also with Cincinnati. Yeah, we're Cincinnati, obviously they don't have Joe Burrow. Their defense is trash. They're going to put up points, but they're not going to be able to get enough stops. And I just feel like right now, the offense and defense, they're not in sync, obviously. So that's something to kind of think about. And then just looking at Baltimore's schedule, bro, I know it's a road game next, and we're going to give our predictions, but they got the Vikings, which is winnable. They got the Browns, W, Jets, W. Bengals could be a W. It's going to be a shootout. Steelers, that's going to be the tricky one because they haven't played the Steelers yet. So they kind of control their fate if they can also beat the Steelers. Then you got the Bengals, Packers may be a tough one, Patriots be a tough one. So they could realistically finish what 10-7 or 11-6. And I think that'll be enough to try to get them in the playoffs. But first and foremost, obviously, you want to try to win your division as well too. Um, Obviously, when you have Josh Allen, you always have a chance, but that win against the Chiefs kind of, gave me a little bit more confidence that the Bills can be Super Bowl contenders and make that championship run as well too. But it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, right? You beat the champs or the reigning AFC champs in the regular season, but you can't get it done in the playoffs. And right now, the Chiefs are going to have to not only essentially win out, but they're gonna have to run the table because they're third in the division right now. And if the playoffs started today, they'd be an eighth seed. And it's only the top seven seeds that get into the playoffs. So they got a lot of things to do. But ever since we had that bye week, we've looked much more better on the defensive end. We've got a little bit more healthy, at least from the offensive end. We're still missing Joshua Palmer. I'm a little upset we didn't make any trades, but for us not to make any trades kind of shows you the identity in which we're going and us banking on being relatively pretty healthy. And for us to not even be as healthy on defense and still look like the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl back when Brady was there against them, that gives me a lot more optimism, but some stuff you got to take week by week. I actually saw a report today and they said that James Cook didn't practice today because of his ankle and foot. So I don't know if it's that severe because we only gonna go as far as Josh and our top five running back go. So we'll see what happens with that as well too. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are a serious threat. Got to give him his flowers. I trust him a lot more than I do Daniel Jones. And right now, my MVP, if it ended today, I'm leaning towards that boy in Los Angeles and Matthew Stafford, at least for right now. So those are my takeaways from week 9.
Bro, I mean, I feel a lot of what you said. I will say I don't know why you would get any confidence from the Bills beating the Chiefs in the regular season because that hasn't meant anything for like the past 5 years. But hey, I'm happy for you.
Happy for me, and like I said, at AC right now, we'll see what happens. But they got a lot of ground to cover. They got a lot of ground to cover, 5-4. But
They
Andy,
got plenty of season left.
yeah,
I think I'm, oh, shit.
Andy Reid's one of the best coaches, especially after the bye week. So they know what time it is. I expect them to get that last seed or maybe move up within their division. But to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. So if I had it anyway, I don't want no smoke dodge. I want to play them, and whatever happens, happens. So we'll see what's good with that. As far as week nine's offensive and defensive players of the week, who you have?
Offensive player of the week, I got Lamar. He came back, looked really good. 204 yards, four touchdowns. Could have been more if they didn't blow the Dolphins out. It was like 28-6. And the Dolphins just were being the Dolphins the whole game and just really being bad and had a couple of chances to put points on the board and they just kept either going for it or turning it over or doing dumb stuff. And then they couldn't really do anything after the half. So I think his numbers could have been even better, but he was really crisp. Um, and I think he's going to have to be because Derrick Henry clearly isn't the same Derrick Henry they got last year. I think he's still good, but not almost 2,000 yards good. And then my defensive player of the week is Alex Highsmith from the Steelers. He had three tackles. He had Four tackles, three of them for loss, two sacks, and a forced fumble. And just a really dominant defensive performance. Because they were just taking the ball away from the Colts the entire game. So yeah, that's who my offensive and defensive player of the week are.
It's crazy. I had Lamar first as well too, but I ended up going with Sam Darnold. Wanted to give him some love. 21 of 24, so only had three incompletions, 330 passing yards, four touchdowns. Granted, he had one pick, it was against Washington, but just proud to see what he's doing because going into the season, I really thought that the Seattle. I laughed when they acquired him. So to see him keeping up his level of excellence with his team. And them also making moves, man. We'll see what happens with them. And then defensively, I don't know how to pronounce his name right, but Talona Hufanga, he plays
Hmm.
for Denver. And Pro Football Focus gave him a grade of an 80, in both coverage and run defense as well too. So he recorded four tackles that result. Those four tackles resulted in all defensive stops. For them to eventually punt the ball, and then two pass breakups versus the Texans. So I had to show him some love. Going into our next topic, Jaden Daniels, man, can't catch a break. The Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels suffered a dislocated left elbow during the fourth quarter while he was trying to scramble and landed awkwardly on his non-throwing left arms, which went backward at the elbow. Last week we talked about Scadaboo's injury, and you saw that joint in real time, and I'm sure you already saw this video, so that joint was crazy as well too. X-rays came back negative for the fracture, so that's great. He is expected to miss several games. Um, they have not yet put him in IR, but I'm assuming he's going to be on IR. And it looks like he just can't catch a break, bro. This is his third injury, so I think he had the knee sprain, hamstring strain, and then now the dislocated elbow as well too. So with this injury happening, what are your thoughts on the Commanders that obviously as an organization, and then also Jaden Daniels moving forward?
Man, it's a bad year for them. The injury was bad, and especially like it crazy. It made me think of the scat injury because honestly, I feel like there's plenty of injuries, but we don't really usually have multiple like really graphic injuries, I feel like, to like really big name players. Um, so it's crazy to see like Scat's ankle be like this, and then Jaden Daniels' elbow or hand, arm go the complete opposite way. And that one I was watching live when it happened too. Um, and it was crazy because I'm like, wait, because it happened super quick. So I'm like, hold on, did that just? And then they showed the replay. I'm like, oh, yeah, that his arm is the other way. But yeah, I think it's one of those, we'll see. Marcus Mariota is really good for their system. He can win them a couple games. He has last year and this year. We'll see what their playoff positioning looks like around the time that he might potentially come back if they don't rule him out for the season. Um, but it's one of those, I think, this is kind of just like a wash year for him, unfortunately. The fortunate side is like it's only year two, so you hope that he has multiple more years. And, you already have other injuries to the defensive side and on the offensive side. Terry hasn't really played all year. Eckler tore his Achilles, and so it's one of those. It's not going to be too bad if they just end up having to take a watch this year, basically. I think they hopefully still have their first round pick, so take advantage of that. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks to see, especially with how great they were last year. But that's also the NFL. It's like not for long, like a lot of teams. That's what makes the Bills and the Chiefs and the old Patriots so great is because to be able to have sustained success over year in the NFL is very rare.
Mm. No, that's real. Their season's definitely over. I think they're 3-6 right now. Especially like going into the season, we had high hopes, and obviously we know about the rookie transition being a sophomore, having that sophomore slump, but he really couldn't be consistent enough to string along some games. And like you said, that defense hasn't really helped out as well too. So with their free agent signings on the defensive end, their defense is a lot older, so it is about that time to kind of try to figure things out. I feel like with these moves that they made this past offseason, they're kind of in a win now mode because obviously, like with your quarterback on a rookie contract, you want to do your best to build around him, but you may just have to say F it and then just go young and not even worry about that. So like I said, the defense definitely on a decline as well too. And now I'm wondering, I know it's only been one season, but the way his frame is, he's built. I know it's kind of a freak accident in a sense, not really, but in a sense, I'm wondering, like, yo, is he? I hope he don't become the new Joe Burrow and become injury prone. That's something that I'm a little worried about, but still young, still gonna have to see it through. And then with Dan Quinn facing some scrutiny, obviously he turned his organization around, especially with last season as well too. But a lot of people were kind of criticizing how like they criticized Tom Thibodeau keeping D Rose and like, yo, why would you do something like that as well too? So I wonder if because of that, the failed season, what that's going to look like for him as far as a sense of job security. Because I know with football, they be ready to move on from someone fast as hell too. So we'll see what's good with that. And then on social media, I saw something just to kind of end it. It said this piece of field got to be the most cursed place in the entire NFL. So in the actual stadium itself, around where he got
I
hurt,
agree.
there's been a bevy of injuries. So obviously Jaden Daniels' elbow. It says Jalen Hurts almost got crushed. This is where Joe Burrow towards ACL, Adrian Peterson towards ACL, RG3 towards ACL, Chase Young towards ACL, Ryan Fitzpatrick hip injury, Alex Smith leg injury, and Kyle Allen's leg injury. So I don't know what's going on over there, but if you're on that side of the field, man, sometimes it's not going to look good for you. But prayers out to Jaden Daniels. Like I said, I'm happy it's his non-throwing elbow. Let him use this time to get sharp. And like you said, they should have their draft equity. So hopefully they can, make some trades in the offseason and draft correctly in the offseason as well, too, because this season is definitely a wash.
Yeah.
So, NFL trade deadline went down. The Jets clean house in a dramatic move. They trade away two of their best defensive players, All-Pro corner that you talked about earlier, Sauce Gardner to the Indiana Colts, and All-Pro defensive tackle Quentin Williams to the Dallas Cowboys. And in return, the Jets did receive multiple first-round picks in their return. What are your thoughts on these quote-unquote blockbuster trades?
I mean, I think I'll start off with the Jets. I think the Jets are doing exactly what they should be doing. I think these are both amazing moves by the Jets. You're not going anywhere. You started off 0-6 or something like that. You're happy you have just gotten one win, so that lets you know how the season is going. Um, and I think it's one of those where it's like, okay, I don't think the timeline of definitely not Quentin Williams. I don't think he fits the timeline of the team anymore. And Sauce, you just paid him. So it's like, how how long is it going to take until we're good? So it makes sense to like get off of all that salary and be able to just spend that money elsewhere in free agency, trying to bring in other veterans or other young players or trade for players. Um, and then also it's like for Sauce, you got two first round picks. For Quinn Williams, you got a first round pick and a second round pick, and you also got AD Mitchell in the Sauce trade. So yeah, I mean, I think the Jets are it's time to, just try and bring in new players. And from the Colts side, I think it's a really good move because the defense up front has been pretty good, but their pass defense has been really bad. So now you bring in someone who can, play opposite of I can't remember his name, but opposite of their other corner, Charvarius Ward. Um, and hopefully reclaim, some of what he had his first 2 years in the league. These last 2 years, he hasn't been as elite, but I'm a firm believer of, and of course we'll see, but one, he's still young, so it's not like he hasn't had any injury or anything like that, so it's not like he physically can't do it, or at least he should still physically be able to do it. I feel like it's more of a symptom of like, damn, this team fucking sucks. And it can be hard for any person in general, it can be hard to be motivated when you're in a really bad situation. And then also on top of that, when you're the only good player in that secondary, it means a lot more is on your shoulders. Um, so yeah, I just think that now he'll be in a better position, hopefully to shine and hopefully recapture some of that. And if he's, just plays at an A- level or something like that, then I think that it'll have been a good trade. And for the Cowboys, I know I kind of spoke on it earlier. I just don't really get it. Yeah, I just don't really get it because this year you're not going to be doing anything. You're not. No team like, okay, you can still make the playoffs, but I would have to look it up. I highly doubt any team that started the year the way they have has ever made it to the Super Bowl. And of course, you can always tell yourself that like we'll be the first to do it, but that's not going to happen. So it's just weird to me. Like I get Quentin Williams' salary is less than Micah's, but it's weird that you would get rid of Micah for basically a lesser player. Um, and especially like giving up some of that draft capital that you got to get him. Basically, the way that the trades happen, they basically traded equal value, close to equal value for what they got from Micah, which doesn't make sense because Quentin Williams is nowhere near the level of player that Micah is. So I just think it's more Cowboys being Cowboys. Like, of course, they want to do something to just be in the spotlight, and we were a big part of the trade deadline, whatever, whatever. But Jerry Jones himself had a quote where he was like, "I don't think that we're one player away on defense." So why would you, if that's the case, why are you giving up your first round pick to get someone, especially honestly, that you could have got? It would have made more sense to do this trade in the offseason, I feel like. But doing it right now really felt like the Cowboys being the Cowboys of like we need to be in the headlines.
Mm, yeah, I agree with you. Definitely bolstered their D line for now, but like you said, they're already 3-5-1 outside of the Commanders. Obviously, like they're they're not going to catch up and win their division. And then even if you look at the conference itself, there's so much high win percentages for those top seven, eight spots that is just like, what was the point of this? And like you said, like that's not going to solve anything long term with your money issues. Y'all might as well just try to build from the draft. So I don't know what they were kind of thinking with that as well too. So it's just Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones, trying to make a splash, trying to stay relevant, but that does nothing for you whatsoever. So, like you said, that joke was pointless. With the Jets, like you said as well too, they seem like another franchise that's quote unquote cursed. They really haven't done anything relevant to us in like the last decade or so. Try to get Aaron Rodgers, went through a bevy of quarterbacks. Obviously, Justin Fields is not looking great, but obviously the organization and that team isn't great as well too. But it's good that they have first round picks. So obviously this definitely ensures that they're going after a quarterback. Definitely ensures that they're going to have salary cap moving forward. And maybe they can build something special moving forward. So I know you Jets fans are upset, be seeing y'all cry every single week. Maybe this is something that can help you guys a little bit more. And as far as the Colts, man, you're essentially, 7-2, leading the AFC South. I think you're in second place in the division. So by this move, getting Sauce Gardner, a couple things. This move, like you said before, they have a solid front four. This addresses their pass defense to compete with these offenses. And this is also telling me that you guys are not only in win now, you guys, because Sauce Gardner's contract is pretty hefty as well, too, for a cornerback. You guys believe in Daniel Jones.
Yep.
So they must have faith in Daniel Jones, whose play has exceeded expectations, and he has a one-off. I'll give him he showed me a little bit of regression. I was a little cause for concern, but to play devil's advocate, to have 4 or 5 turnovers and only lose by one possession, he can sleep a little bit better at night as well too. So we'll see how he moves forward. But you kind of needed that trade as well too, because I mean, just looking at their schedule, they must feel confident. They beat the Broncos this year. They only lost to the Rams by one possession, and then after that, they took care of the Chargers, who were all these are playoff teams. Like I said, they had a little hiccup with the Steelers, so you got to feel a little bit confident. But this schedule coming down the stretch is going to be crazy. I'm looking at it right now. They play the Falcons. Obviously, the Falcons are 3-5, but they're at least going to be competitive and give you a run for your money. Then after that, they go up against the Texans, who have a top five defense. And then from there, you play another playoff team with the Jaguars. You go up against the Seahawks. You play the 49ers. Then you play the Jaguars again. And then finish it off the Texans defense. We don't know if they're going to be tanking or trying to see where other teams in the AFC are at as far as rankings and try to beat you just to get you out. So this is going to be pivotal for them. So it was a trade that was essential. we're gonna see what the Colts do. But the trade deadline, I thought it was gonna be more moves made for other teams. I mean, there was, but nothing crazy as these. But that's about it. I mean, you want to any other teams you kind of want to talk about? I feel like those were kind of like the highlighted ones.
Yeah, those are definitely the big level. I mean, I liked the Rashid Shaheed trade for the Seahawks because they really just have Jason, it feels like. So this is kind of like a deep threat that can open up the other side of the field and maybe make things even easier for them. Um, and I like Draymond Jones for the Ravens. It was like a small pickup, but something that I think can just potentially help them on their defense.
Okay. Okay, cool. Moving on from that, top 12 QB list going into week 10. I had a crazy switch up, so just bear with me, Carl Conyers and everybody else.
Bet.
Because this guy regressed against the Steelers last week, he was at, let me look at my notes real quick from last week. Last week he was at 11. Okay, so not too bad. So he went to 12. Daniel Jones is at number 12. Number 11, I had Bo Nix. Number 10, I had Justin Herbert. Number 9, he plummeted a little bit. I had Jared Goff. And number 8, I had Jalen Hurts. Obviously, it's been a bye week, but he's been playing pretty consistent, especially the last 2 weeks. And I expect for this team to go into next week and play great. Seems like they finally found their identity in that balance on offense, especially with their running game being a little bit better. 7, they won, still played a little up and down, but a win is a win. Drake May went down a little bit for me because of this player, who the player of the week was for me. Sam Darnold went to number 6, another bye uh, with another team with the Buccaneers. So I had Baker Mayfield at 5. And number 4, this guy came out of nowhere, RKO out of nowhere. He's multiple time MVP for a reason. Number 4 is Lamar Jackson for me. I don't give a F. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. And number 1, Matthew Stafford. That was my top 12 QB list. What was yours?
All right. So that's real. That wasn't bad. I can't be too mad at that. Uh, for me, I have Goff at the end of my
Ooh,
list. He's just I don't know how else to say it, man. Goff to me is just like a system quarterback, and that's cool. It is. It's cool, especially when you have a really good team around you, which he does. But I just don't have a whole lot of faith in him, and he just kind of shows it in certain moments. Next I had Dak, then
okay,
I had Jalen Hurts,
okay,
then Herbert,
okay,
then I had Daniel Jones, who fell back a little bit for me.
okay. Still relatively
But
not
still,
okay.
yeah, still nice. Then
Okay,
I have Sam Darnold.
okay,
Then we get to Baker,
okay,
Drake May,
okay.
Lamar,
I was like, is he gonna pull it more high?
Lamar for sure. Then Stafford, Allen. Did I say May yet?
You said,
No, no, yeah. Stafford, May, Allen, Mahomes.
oh, so you still had Mahomes number 1, even though he statistically came off of his worst game.
Worst game ever for sure, which
Yeah.
is to me is I don't know, stuff like that. It's like the difference is okay for Daniel Jones, when you have a really bad game like that,
Yeah.
that is more par of the course of what we've seen for you for your entire career.
Um,
Patrick Mahomes, I mean, this is the worst game that he's ever had. So I firmly don't believe that this is any type of trend or anything like that. They
yeah.
usually don't play the Bills that well in the regular season.
Mhm.
And he usually bounces back from really bad games as well. So I'm not gonna. He had been playing really, really good the past couple of weeks. It's not
Mhm.
enough to me to knock him down because I just don't. I feel like in a different way, like Josh Allen just had a good game as well, but he hasn't been. He's been good, but he just hasn't really put up a lot of like gaudy stats so far this year.
Mhm.
Uh, so like one in either way wasn't enough for me to switch those two.
I respect that. Respect that. As far as week 10 fantasy waivers, Carl Conyers, who you got this week?
So this week I have Devin Singletary, the running back for the Giants. I think last week I might have mentioned Tyrone Tracy, but after this week it looks like they're in a little bit of a timeshare, and it looks like Singletary has a little bit of the advantage in the timeshare. If you have the space, I would add both of them, but I'm sure, that's tough to to have at this point in the season. Um, but yeah, I think he's just definitely a good speculative ad. They're trying to fill in that space from Scat's injury. Then I have Alec Pierce from the Colts, who's like quietly had at least like 60 yards in his past 4 or 5 games and has actually been really solid all year. He hasn't scored any touchdowns, so I think that's why he's off a lot of people's radars. But if you're in a PPR league, he's really good for that. And just in general, like I think the touchdown, um, I think the regression there or opposite of that, I think that he's due for some touchdowns considering just how well he's been playing and the offense has been playing really well. And then also I'm going to say Rashid Shaheed. I think that he was already kind of you know, on the fence kind of player of like, okay, if you really needed some depth at wide receiver, he was someone that you could add. But now I feel like he's going to step into the wide receiver two role. We'll see. But again, I think he's just a good speculative ad. He's a really good deep threat. So I think he's probably going to have a couple of pop games. And then last, I just have for defense, the Browns defense. I think a lot of the defenses that are playing bad teams are like defenses that a lot of people own. So this is kind of when I pick these, I'm trying to go with ones that have a certain or below a certain level of ownership so that people would actually be able to get them off the waivers. Um, but yeah, the Browns this week are playing the Jets. The Jets just threw a bunch of players away, basically. They didn't really get rid of a lot of their players on offense, but I still think, they're the Jets. So it's in they have Myles Garrett on the Browns. So I think that's a pretty decent bet.
Yeah, I like Pierce pick, and I was like, who are you gonna pick for actual team defense, Browns, knowing that the trades happen and they're playing against the Jets. I agree with that too. So no, those are some great predictions for fantasy waivers for week 10 to pick up. Now, as far as actual week 10 predictions, let's go through it like we always do. Broncos are hosting the Raiders. Who you got?
Ravens.
Oh, they play Raiders, my fault.
Oh,
Broncos.
Raiders. Oh, still. Okay, so the Broncos playing the Raiders. Broncos.
Dolphins are hosting the Bills.
Bills.
Colts hosting the Falcons.
Colts.
Berlin game, so no home field advantage. You still got Colts?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Obviously, you picked the Browns defense for a reason. Jets are hosting the Browns, and we both got the Browns.
I
Um,
actually I don't know, man. Like I think that the Browns defense can play really good and they still not win the game because Dylan Gabriel is really bad. Uh,
hmm, who
I'm
you
I'm
got?
gonna go with the Jets. I'm gonna go with the Jets on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna text you on Sunday. We're gonna see. Texans are hosting the Jaguars divisional game. Who you got?
Jags.
I'm gonna go with the Jags, even though they're on the road too. This is gonna be one of the best games of the week. The Buccaneers, after their bye, are hosting the Patriots. Who you got?
Baker.
I'm gonna go with Baker too. Like I said, I'm really starting not to bet against teams that are coming out of a bye week one. And then two, I gotta be a hater right now. We're both the Bills and Patriots are both 7-2. They have a win over us. I want to get in that win column and get one up on them. So we need this. Um, Bears are hosting the Giants. Who you got?
Bears. Giants just don't have anything on offense outside of Jackson Dart right now, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Bears. Vikings hosting the Ravens. Must win game for the Ravens. And Vikings got JJ McCarthy back to 4-4. Still got some
Ravens.
players left. Who you got?
Ravens.
I got Ravens just because of that former MVP and Lamar Jackson. Panthers hosting Saints. I think we both got Panthers.
Yeah.
Okay. Seahawks going up against the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray's officially benched. Who you got?
So it's weird they said that Jacoby Brissett was their starter, but they also didn't place Kyler Murray on IR. So I don't know if he's technically benched, but I also don't think he'll ever play again for the Cardinals. I think that they're probably going to trade him at the end of this year, um, or in the offseason. But that being said, I think the Cardinals are going to lose.
Yeah, me too. Commanders and Lions. I think we both going with your team, Lions.
Yeah.
Another hot game. One team 6-3 in the 49ers, and they're hosting the Rams at 6-2. Who you got?
The Niners have been like the quietest 6-3 this year. It's really weird.
Two injury plague, two still finding ways to win.
Yeah, but
These are the
Rams.
toughest ones to predict.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams.
I'm gonna go with the Rams too. Another hot game. The Chargers are hosting the Steelers. Both of these mean a lot. Steelers, you want to continue to build on top of your division as well as the Chargers. You don't want Mahomes and them coming back from after this week and then you 6-4 losing because right now they 5-4. That's going to be tricky, and they still got to meet each other one more time. Who you got?
Steelers.
And then last but not least, oh, up and down team versus the team that's been catching their stride. The Packers are hosting the Eagles.
Mm,
Hmm.
Eagles. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles too. I just gave Jalen Love's a little bit more Jalen Hurts a little bit more love, so I got to go with the Eagles. Like I said, I feel like they finally found their balance with running the football versus passing the football or defense. They made some acquisitions defensively. They're coming out of a bye, so I can't bet against that as well too. And I think AJ Brown should be healthy, so we'll see how that goes. Um, Transition on from the NBA, a couple topics here. I had a little switch up. Since the NBA started so far, or at least since last week when we chatted about it, any big takeaways?
Um, the Bulls. The Bulls are 6-1 right now. That I think that's really crazy to me. Josh Giddey is probably going to be an all-star this year. But I feel like a lot when it happens, a lot of people are going to say that that trade with OKC was a bad trade, and I still don't really think it was. I think like in hindsight, you would have liked to, because I'm pretty sure they in the trade, OKC gave up Giddy plus another asset to get Caruso. So in hindsight, you probably would have wanted to do the opposite of like um giving up getting back Caruso plus an asset and for Giddy. But at the same time, I just think that Giddy is thriving right now because the ball is in his hands. That was never going to be the case on OKC. Shea's going to have the ball, and number two is going to be Jalen Williams. Um, so I think that it's one of those like fit things. And I think Caruso fits this team a lot better because he doesn't need the ball. He's just in there playing defense, doing threes, shooting threes. Um, but yeah, they're just a very big surprise. I didn't expect that because they've just been in hell these past couple of years. It feels like Bucks and Ryan Rollins, yeah, have been pretty good. I still don't have any. I don't have any faith in this roster to make any noise in the playoffs, but I think that they're going to be a playoff team for sure. Um, but it does kind of suck just to see them not really be a competitive team, in my opinion. Um, and then outside of that, OKC, only undefeated team, still looking like they're, gonna either get back to the championship or come really darn close to it. The Lakers are also 6-2 without LeBron, with Luka missing some time. So I think Austin Reeves has played him, and we'll get into it a little bit, but Austin Reeves has played himself into a lot of money. And I'm happy that he did not take the contract they were offering him. And I think he's very happy he didn't take the contract they were offering him because he's going to make a lot more than that. Uh, and yeah, I think that, it's still early. A lot of things are up for grabs still, but Memphis sucks. I will say that, which I don't know if they expected to be really good this year anyway, but they did get a lot of draft capital for that Desmond Bain trade, so um, not that bad. And then on the other end of that, Desmond Bain has not looked good in Orlando, and Orlando has not looked that good either. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, very, very early on in the season, but to see, what's going to happen with those teams moving forward.
Hmm. Yeah. We pretty much had a lot of overlaps as well too. When I was saying Giannis is looking like Giannis, I don't know how far they're going to get into the playoffs, but as long as he stays healthy and knowing that the East is very shaky right now, I don't think they're going to be a play-in team. I think they can potentially be like a top four seed. So we'll see by the end of the year where that kind of gets him at least in the MVP standings. I know it's early as hell. And like you said, the Bulls are 6-1. And Josh Giddey is playing great. He's averaging damn near triple double with 23 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. I've always been high on him, and one thing I wanted him to kind of do is improve his jump shot because I always thought he was obviously Shea started off as a point guard, and then when he got traded, he to OKC originally, he was a two guard, then transitioned back to the one guard when CP3 left. But I always thought that the true point guard for OKC was Josh Giddey. And I know, like you said, a lot of people may look back at this one day and say that the Bulls won the trade or why did they give him up? I'm not really thinking that. They won a championship, and for that team itself, he just didn't fit for them to have a extended playoff run because he couldn't space the floor as well too. But right now he's shooting 50% um, from the field, I believe, and over 40% from three. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. We'll see how that goes. I know it's only been 7 weeks and two full 2.5 weeks of the NBA season, so we'll see what's good with that. And then Tyrese Maxey averaging the 76ers are 5-2, averaging 34 points, eight rebounds and 5 assists, I believe. And he's shooting 49% from three, which is crazy. And right now, obviously, Joel Embiid, I still want to give him a little bit more time, but kind of like what you said last week or the week before, his knees kind of look shot and he's not looking dominant defensively like he once was. So maybe he's thinking that too. And he's saying, hey, we have a lot of depth, especially at the guard position. We got a former head coach that has championship pedigree. PG still on his way back. McCain just made his return. Maxi, this is your team. So if they're going to play off of that and you have a Joel Embiid as a second, third option, then that looks good for you. So we'll see what happens with them as well too. So those are kind of my biggest takeaways as well. Moving on from that, Dylan Harper just got injured, bro. San Antonio Spurs rookie Dylan Harper suffered a left calf strain. And I mean, this past Sunday, essentially, he was trying to go for a block. Got diagnosed. MRI came back a little. It came back clean because he didn't break anything or tear anything. I mean, I guess if it's a strain, it's a slight tear, but it could have been much worse. He was in walking boots and he was on crutches as well too. Like I said, it was a awkward land as he was attempting to block a dunk in the second quarter. But he was off to a strong start, man, averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the absence of De'Aaron Fox in the Spurs' first 6 games. What are your thoughts on this, this injury with the Spurs and them moving forward?
I mean, I think it definitely sucks, but it seems like Fox is going to be coming back pretty soon. So kind of like one in, one out in that regard. It'll be interesting to see how they manage their guard rotation, including Vassell, when all of these guys are back. But I think in like the short term, I think that's going to be more the problem. I think because now Fox is coming back and you're basically again like, filling one in where the other one's going out, but in the ideal situation, you have all of them playing. So now you're gonna have to, Fox is gonna get into a rhythm when it's like, well, this isn't actually gonna be what the situation is when we're all healthy. So I think that's gonna be something more to monitor. But Wemby should be good enough to cover up in the interim. And again, like Fox coming in, Castle has been playing great. When we did have a dud, he had like 9 points the other night. Um, but I still think that it's not going to be. I don't think that it's going to be really terrible for them, honestly, because he was coming off the bench playing less than 30 minutes. Of course, he was having a really good impact, but I think they're actually a pretty deep team right now. So I think that they'll be able to weather this without him.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, obviously he's your number two pick, so you got to protect his health at all costs as well too, right? And if there's one team that we know that monitors their players' health and make sure they sustain a certain level of play and longevity, is the San Antonio Spurs. And we know from past history, the calves lead to Achilles. So take all the time you need. There's no rush, like you said. De'Aaron Fox has been dealing with early hamstring injuries. I think he said last week or when the season started, if it was up to him, he would play. but because they kind of wanted to further develop him and be patient, like I said, historically speaking with the Spurs, they're just going to let him ease into it. So I anticipate De'Aaron Fox coming back at some point this week or end of the week itself as well too. But Castle and Vassell and Harper were kind of going all back and forth with playing point guard. Obviously, Dylan Harper is like a true point guard himself. Um, but yeah, everyone's gonna have to kind of do it by committee until Fox does come back. But like you said, I am curious to see what that rotation and the rhythm and the chemistry is gonna be like with them as a whole, and especially with Harper. So that's gonna be something to kind of keep in mind. We were dealing with injuries to start off the season with Luke Cornett, with Kelly Olynyk, with Jeremy Sohan, and obviously I said Fox. I'm looking at the box score right now because the Spurs are playing the Lakers right now. Looks like Sohan is back, and it looks like Kelly Olynyk is back as well too. So help is there right now, and they should be competitive. They already have a couple games over, so I think they'll be fine. Especially once Fox comes back. There's a reason why you pay him top dollar, and there's a reason why he was a former Clutch Player of the Year, and former All-Star as well too. So I'm just slightly concerned. I know it's his rookie year, but to rack up a couple injuries within the span of what, July, August, September, October, 4.5 months is kind of crazy. Because I wanted to go to Vegas to see him play, but he had that minor groin issue. And then in September, I think he had a ligament tear in his left thumb, and now he has a left calf strain. So it's just like, damn, we ain't even go through 15 games of the regular season, and you're already looking like you made of glass, but I think he's gonna be fine. I'm a little scared about it, but I think he's gonna be fine as well too. So Spurs, y'all gonna be straight. Um, moving on from that, all right. Moving on from that. Big story out of Memphis right now is Ja Morant, Carl Conyers. We're gonna deep dive into the situation, focusing on the facts and the potential future impact while also keeping our conversation, try to keep it objective and respectful. But the facts are Morant was suspended for one game following a locker room altercation with his new coach. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna try to Tuomas Lisalo. And upon his return, he made a comment that he's lost the joy for the game, leading to a lot of speculation about his future and the team's direction as well too. So my question for you, Carl Conyers, with the comments that he made and everything that's been going on, and also his play, what's your initial reaction to Ja Morant and also the team's handling of the situation in the future?
I mean, I think which sucks because this is the very beginning of the season, but it feels like we're in a either the coach or a player situation. I don't think that Ja wants to play for this guy. I think that whatever like it's the rotations they've been talking about and some of the other like sets that he's been running, they just really don't like. And it's not just Ja that actually seems like they have problems with this coach. Um, so yeah, I really think it's already just gotten to that point. It's going to be either or, and honestly they might keep the coach because Ja at this point has been proven to be a lot of just a lot of issues. The only issue with that is he has a certain level of talent, but if you trade him right now, you're probably going to be trading him as if he's someone with a lot lower level of talent because of all the baggage he comes with. And I know that's always hard for a team to swallow. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that, it's me and some of my friends were talking about this the other day. It's really sad to see the Grizzlies have completely missed their window. Like they were supposed to be this young up and coming team. They're winning 50 games. They won 50 games like I think back-to-back years. Top seeds in the West, and like it never did anything with it. And then it just also feels like we've already seen the best of Ja Morant, which is sad because he's still 26 or 27 or something like that. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it just keeps end up being problem after problem. I don't know if he will ever really return to superstar status. He was being talked about as potentially the next face of the league, and like now that's for sure over. That's never gonna happen. Um, Also kind of sucks crazy to see like just the 1 and 2 picks of that draft. Like after year two, it was like, oh, Zion and Ja, when Zion finally got on the court, it was like, dang, Zion and Ja, like these guys are both crazy. And now you look at their careers a couple years after, and it's like, it's just very disappointing.
Hmm. No, I agree with you, man. Like you said, supposed to be the face of the league, basically replaced Kyrie Irving with the Nike brand itself as well too. Also was American at that, you know what I'm saying, with it being such an international uh as far as like the front face and the top players are international players as well too. So it's tough. I just feel like the organization probably low-key also have been patient and cooperative with him, and has had somewhat of a healthy relationship, but all these antics, the suspensions, him also being injury prone, they're kind of thinking, and then also them also damn near trading away their core that was their identity with Desmond Bain and also Dylan Brooks. Now it's just him and what's the guy's name? Triple J. It's just like,
Mhm.
damn, what's gonna happen now? And they got a new coach. They got rid of Taylor. Was it Taylor Jenkins? So
Mhm.
just wondering what their future kind of looks like. If I was a betting man, this is kind of a call for cry for help for him. Like you said, I don't think he's rocking with the organization no more, and he's damn sure not rocking with the coach. And you can kind of see that as well too. I know he's been a little bit injury prone and whatnot, but his field goal percentage has dipped, his 3-point percentage has dipped. He's not really giving that much effort on defense. And when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's mad lethargic and not moving without the basketball. This is also his career low in minutes. And his overall demeanor and disengagement is just kind of bothering me, especially like being the face, one of the faces of the league. Obviously not on the top of the totem pole anymore as far as faces, like top face of the league, but still being a face of the league, being so marketable. You would think with him having the longest tenure there, maybe I don't know if it's him or Triple J, but you're supposed to be the leader within that roster. And it's just like you're not setting a good foundation, you're not setting a good tone for not only the organization and your teammates, but the young fellas as well too. So certain things rub off on people. So I'm just not really rocking with that. You can be upset all you want, but just go out there and hoop, my nigga. And if you're gonna get traded, eventually you're gonna get traded, dog. So you got to fix that. So we're gonna see what happens with that. I know NBA Central came out with like some news earlier on the day, and they basically said the Minnesota Timberwolves are monitoring John Morant's situation in Memphis. And then they also threw out a couple teams there, obviously with Fred VanVleet being hurt um, with his ACL, maybe the Rockets, no need for that at all, obviously. And then Sacramento Kings, no need for that because Sacramento Kings never know what the hell they're doing.
Well,
So
that I will say that is why I would firmly believe that the Kings would trade for him because they don't know what they're doing. They do dumb stuff all the time. So that seems very much in play.
that's fair. That's fair. I would just like him to be in a new environment. Someone was saying, like, I think a couple of days ago, just trade him for Trey Young. I mean, yeah, you can, but Atlanta, I mean, they got pieces. That'll be cool, but if they have enough assets and contract cap space to float shit around, him and the other YN linking up will be interesting. With Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant up there as well too, because that's one thing that they're also missing. I feel like Anthony Edwards does a lot of not only the scoring and guarding, one of the top defenders outside of Jay and Daniels every single night. He also has to essentially be their point guard because Mike Conley is old now. DiVincenzo can play make and more so like just get them in their
Not really a point guard though.
safety. And then you invested so much in Rob Dillingham, he's really just kind of like a Jordan Clarkson type of player. He's gonna give you a fair, efficient-esque ratio, but for the points he gives up, I mean, the points he scores, he's going to give up as well, too. And he has a score first mentality. So that would be nice to have a shakeup. I don't know what the future's going to hold, but if I was a betting man, I do think there is a situation where they trade him. So we're going to continue to monitor that situation, Ja. So hopefully you get the joy back because the last person that didn't have joy anymore that got traded was Jimmy Butler. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Moving on from that, Lakers, man, like you said, they're one of the top seeds in the Western Conference. Luka started off torching motherfuckers, and then after that, he had a little bit of a finger problem, and Austin Reeves looks like another second coming of Luka Doncic. And they've been staying afloat and being the top team in the West, like I said. With all that being said, man, is it time to start thinking about a future without LeBron James? Obviously, he came off an all NBA season, but he is 40 years old and he hasn't played yet, and they're winning. So what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I think unequivocally yes, but not for the reason some people may think. I think just in general, when you have a 40-year-old on your team, you should be thinking about the future without them because you don't know. As LeBron has said, like this could be his last year, next year could be his last year. You don't really know. Um, so like as a franchise, you have to be trying to think for the future in the long term. So you should be trying to plan for a future without him because it is, end of the day, it's coming sooner. It's coming soon, even if it's not this year or whatever, it's gonna be coming. So uh I think though you're not gonna, well, I don't want to say you're not gonna trade him, but more than likely they're probably not gonna be trading him unless it's something that he wants. And I think that he still adds a lot to a team. I think that, there's nothing wrong with maybe him being the third scoring option, although I still think that he will probably be number two when he comes back, and Austin Reeves will go back to being three. But I think that what this does say is like when it comes to this offseason, if it comes between like prioritizing re-signing LeBron or making sure that Austin Reeves gets his contract, you should be focusing your energy on Austin Reeves. That is for sure. I don't think for this season it means a whole lot. I think that they'll still settle back in basically the same as it was last year. Maybe LeBron might let Reeves be the number two. Um, and it's great to have that option. But again, honestly, it wasn't to this level quite, but we saw Reeves really hoop last year in the regular season. He had a really good year, but when it came down to it in the playoffs, he was not that good, and that's kind of what he's been the last couple of years. So that'll be more something to monitor as well, to see if he can maintain a certain level of play when it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, as an organization, you got to do what's best within the interests of your team, and the roster itself. So I don't know. I mean, I know he's the GOAT or considered one of the GOATs to many as well too, but he is 40 years old. You want him to kind of end things on his own terms as well too. And I feel like he has his shop set up in LA as well too. So I don't really see him demanding a trade anywhere, win or lose, or however they kind of end things as well too. So unless they traded him, I don't really see him moving. Like I said, he was an all NBA player last year as well too, but when you are watching the Lakers and you're watching Luka Doncic play and watching Austin Reeves play, obviously Luka gonna do what the fuck he gonna do. And you, like you said, Austin Reeves did play well in his role as a third option last year. And you argue he was the best third option last year. But Reeves in particular, and then the rest of the crew, it seems like they play more free. One thing about LeBron James, I know he's had he's notoriously known for making players better. I feel like it's a 50-50. He kind of makes players better, but he also hides the deficiencies because they have to do less. You know what I'm saying? Being corner boys, just playing defense and trying to play without the ball. So it's going to be interesting to just see like what that dynamic kind of looks like. Like I said, I know he's 40 and right now he's making like, I think almost upwards of $60 million. Just imagine like the draft picks you can get back with that and then also the pieces you can get back with that because we know if you're white in the NBA, unless your name is Alex Caruso, you ain't really gonna be playing perimeter defense like that. So you already kind of have liabilities with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. It'll be nice to kind of take that formula with what the success was with Dallas when they built around Luka, when they still had Jalen Brunson with all those defenders, or even when they made the finals run with all those defenders and Luka just being the weakest one there. It'll be nice to see what you can kind of do with that. But I think either way, even if he does play this season or go another season, I'm thinking just this season that they want to kind of do, especially with the emergence of Austin Reeves and like how you said he do for a bag. You kind of have to now think about your future because you're already going to sell out box. You're already going to sell the box office with or without LeBron. Just having the Lakers brand and that international influence from Luca. Um, and you're in a hot market as well too. So yeah, I think it's time to kind of think about that, but not right now. Let's see what they look like because kind of like how we talked about Dylan Harper coming back with Fox. Let's see where the pecking order is going to be. Obviously, LeBron's a brand name, but he also is 40. So in a perfect world, he can kind of play that role he kind of did with Team USA, where he's just really facilitating, just letting them two white boys go off, and then kind of flip that switch a little bit as it's time to get into post All-Star break going into the playoffs. So we're gonna see what's good with that. But I think he'll come back and they may have a weird little patch, but LeBron's played with them all, and he's been in the league since I've been in the third grade. So they're gonna be just fine at the end of the day. You feel me? So,
And I
uh,
think also, I agree, like it's the Lakers. Of course, they're going to be able to sell a lot of tickets, but I definitely agree. I mean, I definitely think that they want to be the team that has LeBron during his last season. I
mm,
think that they're gonna like they would really like to do that. Like, of course, it's one thing to sell out the tickets, but it's another thing when you can sell out the tickets and you can raise the prices.
I mean,
If
yeah, we saw with the Hennessy announcements, the price.
Exactly. The ticket prices went up when they thought he was going to retire. Like that's something for sure I know that the Lakers want to try and have. And just in general, like to be able to have, Kobe retire with you, LeBron retire with you, Kareem retire with you, Magic retire with you. Like that's something I know that they if it's something they can control, is something that they would want for sure.
No, that's facts. That's facts. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But week three so far has been looking good with the NBA season, and like I said, week 10 is going to be pretty interesting with the NFL. There's a lot of games at stake, a lot of legacies on the line. You know what I'm saying? Playoff spots need to be birthed. But any closing remarks for episode 162?
Oh man, hope everybody has a great week and we'll catch you next.
We'll catch you next, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great week. Like Carl Conyers said, that was episode 162 of the Season Show. Make sure to continue to subscribe on all forms of social media at the Season Show at Carl Conyers. That's our Seasons. We out.